What is going on? I'm zmoT. We are going to be doing some warships. It's been a minute. Apologies, away and busy, and it is just a crazy time of year. Code zmoT about to expire, so we will renew it because I will forget. I thank you for everyone who does that. It's a pain. It's greatly appreciated. I've made it into Diamond. I'm going to tell you how I made it here, and you can follow suit if you want, but really, the important detail here is that all along I kept thinking, I am going to save for 7 engine rooms and I'm going to get that 200%. And the reality is most people can't actually get that. So the problem here is that these nodes, these 2 nodes right here are too well designed for most people. In order to get there, you have to have laser rangers or bombardiers. And in order to get there, you have to have rainmakers or heavy choppas, which means you need to go all the way back through this stuff or back through this stuff, which is just keys that I simply don't have and I'm not going to have. Or you need to go all the way where are laser rangers. Like, everything is far is the bottom line. Like, the laser rangers are probably the closest way to get through it, but I don't have seekers or mechs. So this tree was well designed. You can't just gloss your way through it, at which point I figured out, you know what? Let's just double down on all the defensive building damage. And if we look at my log, you can see it is working. We got a fizzle and a fizzle and a fizzle. Actually, they actually finished, but almost everyone is fizzling, and they're fizzling like this one. I got 23 stars for on my boss battle. When you're at 20 and you face a 23 on your boss battle, you just get this sinking feeling, and sometimes you win, and it works out fairly darn well. So, quick note that just having 90% building damage? No, sorry, yeah, 90% building damage just didn't do anything with shock blasters. I definitely needed the max level rocket launchers to make it worthwhile. Finally got some troop damage of late, which was nice because this whole season I've been going with 0% troop damage, which I am not a huge fan of. And as far as next steps, I am going to go get that building health, because without building health, people are still clearing me. Gonna get some troop health in the process. Also gonna get tiny shock, which is going to be magical. I'm really looking forward to that tiny shock because you can only defib so many times. And if you're wondering how I've been clearing bases, I'm gonna show you, because it's not standard and it cost me a bunch of keys. I went from having like 4 million keys to 0 just by getting my rocket launchers maxed and getting heavies. And you might be wondering, why the heck heavies? They just live, and they live for a long time, and you end up with some pretty good value out of them. So I've got Rudo on the left protecting that rocket chopper. I've got heavies in the middle, and then you get a combination of heavies and rifles when you start using defib. And my attacks are not quick in any sense of the word, but they're effective for the most part. I'm not fizzling a heck of a lot. I know a bunch of people are using things like mechs and Zookas, and I wanted to stick with rocket choppas because that's what I had, and it worked out. So I figured I'd show you my tech tree in case it helps some of you. Also show you how I've been attacking, and heavies work. I never thought I would be using heavy Rudo rocket choppas, but as you can see here, just clearing all of the bases, whether they have a bunch of heavies and boom cannons and shock blasters and rocket launchers and all the rest of it, but just leaking out heavies. And quick note, I wanted to give a very important detail. When you click the button for Rudo, he stops making wingmen, which is hugely bad. Same thing with Everspark. When you click her button, she stops making critters. So in the event, for example, you were to drop Rudo here and do a late run up here, if you click the button when he's at shore, he covers that entire distance, dropping 0 wingmen. Then he ends up dying as a result of it. So be very, very, very careful when you click his button. I am waiting until he has his 6 wingmen before clicking it, also making sure he's pointing at something useful, obviously. And my attacks suck. I don't know if there's any better way to describe it, but they suck. And so we're gonna sneak some of these heavies up that right-hand side, just waiting and waiting. And then Rudo, notice that we're not clicking his button, which lets him pop out more and more of his wingmen. And then we get some more heavies and our rocket choppas going. And Rudero's just kind of hanging out there. He's going to distract things, and then we'll get a defib in the back. And the reason why I do that defib a little bit early is so that we get some rifles that die, because if you only get heavies, it ends up being a little bit less than ideal. So this weird mix of defib and not defib, and then getting a defib near that machine gun, which is not super duper smart. But those shock blasters without the tiny shock have been a little bit scary for me, because they'll just catch Rudo and he'll just stick there and die. So without smoke, you can't change what something's going to target. So if your boom cannon sees Rudo without a wingman, he's dead. And I don't have flares, and I feel like more seasons than not, I'm choosing to go without flares these days. Not entirely sure why that is, but it seems to be working for the most part. I don't think I'm on the global top 500. We'll have to check that. I have no idea where the global top 500 even is, but I've ranked up from I couldn't get into 19 for a long time, and now we're sitting in diamond, so maybe I've made it? Oh, look at that. That was kind of stupid. Okay, so we're in the global top 187 and sitting number 2 on New Zealand with a 52% win rate, which is respectable, but man, this guy is just crushing it with the 60% win rate, doing fairly well there. You know what, we'll do one live hit, because why not? And I've got 23 keys. What can I get with 23? Oh, of course, that's 24. Just goes to show that claiming in gold forever and ever just didn't work out. And so and just to be clear, when I was sitting at the building damage, so what I did was I went up and I got the shock blaster first, and then I got the building damage, and then I was thinking that I was just gonna go something like this, and then I did the math, and it was gonna cost me about 405 keys to get all the way just to get, I think, to here. And then because of all of this back stuff that I needed, so do make sure if you're planning to go to the end that you have the things to get through the blocking nodes, and you're gonna have the keys, because I would have had to play all the way until the last minute. I think I was gonna get to that 200% troop damage or building health or whatever you have with 14 hours left, and I would have still been in gold, and so it would have been this giant push point on the last day, and I am not a weekend player, so whatever suits you, just make sure your plan actually works. You can't just blindly save this season, more so than any other season in the past. So if we can get a match, hopefully they'll be somewhere near 21. And this is dumb, by the way. This is dumb for me to be attacking right now. I was guaranteed to get a diamond chest next match, or in my next 2 matches. So now I'm putting that in jeopardy. And you see that my opponents spend a lot of time scouting. People are not seeing 130% building damage out there. So you end up getting a little bit, and we are going to definitely use a defib early here, because we want all of those rifle buddies, and those rifle buddies are going to deal with those single shot defenses far better than heavies would. And then once we get some wingmen out, come on, get me a couple more wingmen, and then as soon as Rudo turns hopefully towards that right hand side, we'll get a little bit more as we use our tiny shock for the first time. Very happy about having that, and then we should be good to just run through all this stuff using Rudo. Man, the tiny shock is going to be an absolute game changer. Nothing can stop us. We're all the way up. I'm not entirely sure why that quote came to mind, but very, very excited for this tiny shock, as we're going to shock that, because now we can actually stop something, and we'll just keep getting our defibs out, and this is making my attacks so much easier. So A, we're working our way towards that building health, which is going to make people even slower, but B, more importantly, we have the tiny shock, and it looks like our opponent is going to crush us, and you had to know that was going to happen. It just, I mean, maybe that engine room wiggled, it moved for a second there, but maybe we've got a shot still. We are going to use our tiny shock. Yeah, we lost. I knew that was going to happen, and that is the reality of it, though. This tech path very much depends on your opponents failing, and people are not as bad as one would hope at times, so we're gonna lose, and I am gonna lose my easy diamond chest simply by playing. But what fun would this be without a live attack, I guess, is the bigger... I mean, we might not have lost. Our opponent might have forced quit, but I kind of assume they're in diamond, so they have won. And we have lost. They got a 230, which is halfway decent, and I'll show you how they beat my base just for full disclosure. Also, quick note, I built this base. Yes, me, by myself. Didn't copy, didn't tweak. I literally built this base, so I can guarantee there are going to be better bases. I just was at 6 engine room before everyone else, and I didn't want to wait around and wait for people to make me a base, so I just made one. And it has done a reasonable job. I don't get any satisfaction out of building my own base, to be completely honest. And you can see here, they've got the remote defib, they've got the tiny shock, and they've got Rudo, and they're just walking through the base with that. And that's why those shock blasters on their own don't do a heck of a lot, because a lot of people do have that tiny shock, and then they're mixing in 3 boats of seekers and just walking through the base. Like, did we do a halfway decent job of stopping them? That shock mine definitely needs to be moved a little bit outwards, and we end up not really having a shot at stopping them. So the combo attacks beating us, but more importantly, we're still in diamond, and I managed to get Martini into diamond. I wonder if that's their first time in diamond. If so, let's just have a look here. They're at 21.7, and that was their diamond battle. So you're welcome, I guess. I kind of like getting people in a diamond, except for the fact that it comes at the expense of my stars. So I'm going to leave that for the moment. If I was smart, I would have forced quit on that battle. That way I can keep all of those chests, so I would have been guaranteed this diamond chest in 6 hours. But as you can see by the math here, we are going to need either a rank or a extra chest in order to get that building health. And this building health is just too far, I think. I mean, maybe by the end of the season I might be able to get it, so that might be the next thing on my list, just to be extra ridiculous, because we can't get through there because that is blocked. And then again, all of these blockers are super duper smart. So maybe the rocket choppa boost should be on my list. I'd probably be able to do better with heavy choppas, but for now we're gonna go get some building health and just continue that disgusting defensive meta. So that is all for me. I know I've missed some videos, and I'm gonna miss some more videos in the next little while, but that's just the breaks. Do keep filling all... Oh, Shockeneers are so good. Do make sure you get all of these things into your storage. You can upgrade them later. Just make gosh darn sure that you get every single one of these things. Every couple days I'll just jump in here and fill all of my storages. And then I kind of just chip away by going into the armory and spending some of that stuff on things that I actually care about. And on Thursdays, for example, I just barred out War Factory. It's one of those things where I hate the fact that War Factory and Dr. T are easy, but I do like the fact that you can just get super simple, easy resources. Let me just show you an image of finding this Shop of Evil is a giant pain in the butt and I always forget about it, so I wanted to show you one quick thing. What do you think about this mock-up? I think that if they threw the Shop of Evil to the right-hand side of the creator boost, A, it would get more attention to the creator boost, which I am all in favor of, and B, it would actually show up somewhere, and be actually findable. Like, where it is now doesn't really make sense to me. Anyways, that is it. That is all. I shall talk to you tomorrow. As always, thank you for coming in, using code zmoT, keeping that submarine diving, keeping your sculptor going, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for coming in. Peace.